Howdy. How's everybody? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's really great to see so many smiling faces and students, family, friends, faculty, and guests. Today really marks a turning point for our students, a moment where each of you puts on a white coat, and with it begins a new identity. You're students in a program unlike any other, one where you'll study not only the complexities of the human body, but also the mechanics of how to solve problems the body faces. One where over the next 4 years, you'll be shaped into something brand new, physicianeers. That's not just a clever mashup of words, it's a bold, visionary calling. You're going to be part of a new generation, only the seventh cohort at this school, but it's really redefining what it means to practice medicine. You're not just here to learn how to heal patients, but to invent solutions. To bring together two disciplines, when you combine them, they really have the power to transform healthcare, medicine, and engineering together. In other words, you're here to do the impossible. That's to iterate, to troubleshoot, and build a prototype. Yes, welcome to a lifetime of late nights, caffeine, and whiteboards. Let's talk about the coat. The white coat is a symbol of trust, of responsibility, of humility, of compassion. When you wear it, people will tell you things they haven't told anyone else. They'll ask you questions you won't always have the answer to, but they'll place their health and sometimes their very lives in your hands. It's an enormous responsibility, and it's also a privilege. The white coat ceremony is a meaningful tradition for all medical students, but here in InMed it really carries something more, because today you're not just putting on a white coat, you're also receiving a pair of engineering calipers. Now you won't find that in most white coats in pockets around the country, but the calipers say a lot about who you are. They represent the other side of your identity, the builder, the thinker, the inventor. Medicine and engineering may seem like very different worlds, but here you'll learn how to bring them together in very powerful ways. This journey will be full of continuous learning and growth, but there will be challenges. There'll also be breakthroughs, a strong support system here at InMed to help you along this way. You'll start by asking questions like, how can I better understand the patient experience to deliver more personalized care? How can I redesign this device or this workflow to make treatment faster, safer, more efficient, more economical, and more accessible? These are the kind of questions that will set you apart. They're the questions that can save lives, and exactly why you are here today. Now, before we go any further, I want to take just a quick look at the person sitting next to you. Each of you realize that one of you might be the person who dreams up the next great medical breakthrough. The other might be the one who brings it to life. Or maybe because this is InMed, you'll do both. That's the kind of environment you're stepping into, where collaboration meets innovation, where your classmates might someday be your colleagues, your co-founders, or even your co-inventors. The white coat you wear today symbolizes compassion, trust, responsibility, I-CARE values, the A&M core values. Those calipers, they'll remind you to think precisely, creatively, and never stop improving. But you're about to begin something tough, but also very incredible. It will challenge you in ways that you never imagined, but it will also give you the power to change the future of healthcare. Now, as a surgeon and a urologist, to be exact, I've had my fair share of interesting conversations. Let's just say that most times I'm asked to fix things that most people don't want to talk about around the dinner table. But no matter what specialty or path you choose, one thing you'll always hold true: your role is to care to question, to improve. And here at InMed, you're not just being trained to treat disease, you're here being trained to engineer a new era of healthcare. And I'd like to congratulate each of you, your family, your parents who helped you get here. Congratulations to all of you. As we celebrate the future of medicine today, it's fitting that we hear from someone who's really shaping healthcare in the city, the nation, and even the world every day. Dr. Mark Boom is not only the President and CEO of Houston Methodist, he's also a valued partner to InMed, to our mission, our vision, and a close friend. Please help me welcome Mark Boom to the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see all of you here today. It's a huge honor for me to be here today to get a chance to speak with you and share some of my thoughts around this wonderful ceremony and the great journey that each of you are embarking upon. I want to start off, of course, by congratulating the class of 2029. You've already accomplished a huge amount to even get to this point, but it's a really long journey, as you know, and this is a wonderful milestone along the journey. I want to thank the faculty and staff at Texas A&M as well as Houston Methodist who will help guide you through this journey. And of course, we all need to thank the people who have helped you get here, the family and friends who will see you through these few years. I know how proud they are of each of you. In fact, just about a year ago, I attended the white coat ceremony for my son, our son, and 7 years ago attended a white coat ceremony for our daughter, who's now a third-year pediatric resident. So I know exactly how you feel. And it seems like just yesterday it went like that. When my wife and I were in medical school, there was no such thing as a white coat ceremony. In fact, they weren't quite a thing yet. They began in 1993 when Dr. Arnold Gold, who's a renowned pediatric neurologist dealing with very difficult issues at Columbia, renowned for his compassion and his humanity, established that tradition to really emphasize the journey that you're on and the importance of humanism in medicine. Now, I may not have attended a white coat ceremony, but I still can remember the feeling of putting that coat on for the first time. It was a little stiff in the shoulders. It hadn't quite yet molded to what it was about to be part of and the journey that it was about to be a part of. What I recall most clearly is the feeling that came with it, not just one of pride, but one of immense responsibility and a recognition of that. Now, where I attended medical school, the tradition was that the students wore short white coats, kind of similar to what you'll be wearing today. And the attendings and anybody who was a physician, the trainees and attendings and residents, et cetera, wore long white coats. I remember looking at those long white coats with a great sense of envy at the time. So imagine my chagrin when I found out that the place I selected to go do my residency had it all backwards. The attendings wore short coats and the non-physicians wore the long coats. I mean, did I feel cheated? I mean, the horror of this. So I want to tell you a story about a man named David. David's an elderly, frail, mobility impaired, but completely cognitively intact gentleman who was a patient in Walter Tower at Houston Methodist, just nearby where you will spend so much time, sadly suffering from a very severe gastrointestinal illness. He had constant, terrible diarrhea from the moment he got into the hospital, soiling himself, soiling the bed constantly. So bad that, I mean, if you walked in the room, your eyes would water. Johnny, a PCA or a personal care assistant, would gently and lovingly clean him up and his bed several times in a day. He'd do so with compassion, and he'd chat with David to take his mind off of what was happening at that moment. When Johnny learned that David was a really kind of old school kind of guy and loved to read the morning physical newspaper, he ran down to the gift shop and bought him a paper copy of the Houston Chronicle. When the wife of David offered to pay for that. Johnny refused. Things like that happen every single day behind closed doors. So how do I even know about it? Well, I know about it because it touched his wife so much that she wrote me a letter to tell me about Johnny. She didn't write a letter about the physicians who were caring for him. She didn't write me a letter about the nurses that were caring for him. She didn't write me a letter about the medical students who were caring for him. She wrote me a note about Johnny. So what am I doing sitting here in the middle of a white coat ceremony for a bunch of doctors-to-be talking about a PCA and telling you a story about a PCA? Because Johnny understands and exemplifies answering the sacred call to help others. Think about what it must have been like to be David, soiling yourself constantly, the embarrassment, the indignity, the feeling of sheer helplessness. Johnny understood that, and he brought David dignity, respect, and humanity. You see, he treated David as a person of sacred worth and value, and every person we care for is a person of sacred worth and value. Every single person we work with, every single person in this room, every single person on the planet is a person of sacred worth and value. So I look back at what was at the time my very real feelings about this whole long coat, short coat thing with honestly a little bit of embarrassment. So consider today like my therapy session, my confessional here around that. Now, in my defense, let's face it, I was a 22-year-old male whose prefrontal cortex had not fully developed. Clinical Pearl, for all of you that are less than 25, you got about 3 years to go till that fully occurs. But I realize now with the context of time and a bunch of hard knocks have taught me, and that's the length of a coat doesn't matter one bit. In fact, the white coat itself doesn't matter. What matters is the recognition that you're not donning a white coat. You're donning the profession of medicine. You are answering a sacred call to help others. A sacred calling, whatever that takes. As a physician, it's never about you. It's always about the people you serve, all of who are people of sacred worth and value. So I want to tell you a quick second story. Susie works in environmental services, fancy name for a housekeeping. And each day as she cleans the rooms, very cheerfully, she chats with the patients with a smile and interacts with them and their families. And one day as she cleaned the room of a patient she'd known for a few days, she noticed he wasn't his usual cheerful self and just didn't interact with her like she was used to. So what did Susie do? She went and found the nurse and told her something just wasn't right. Her quick thinking identified clinical deterioration in that patient far earlier than it would have been identified otherwise. Her actions as a housekeeper with no clinical knowledge, with barely a high school education, if that, made a real positive clinical impact in that patient. She might even have saved that patient's life. Which brings me to my second point. Medicine is a team sport. Let me say that again. Medicine is a team sport. It is not a hierarchy. It's not long white coat versus short white coat versus no white coat. Everyone who works in healthcare is part of the team. Everyone who works here is a person of sacred worth and value. To properly care for our patients requires teams of nurses, PCAs, physical therapists, speech therapists, occupational therapists, respiratory therapists, nutritionists, pharmacists, chaplains, social workers, case managers, housekeeping staff, building maintenance staff, food service workers, and on and on. And oh yeah, by the way, it requires we as physicians, teams of hospitalists, intensivists, consultants, residents, fellows, and learners like each of you. And learners serve a really important role. You keep everyone on their toes. You keep everyone on the cutting edge. You bring enormous value to the care of our patients, and don't ever forget that. And never again forget that medicine is a team sport. So listen to everyone on the team. Get to know everyone on the team. One of the beauties of being a medical student is you'll carry a little lighter patient load. So you can spend more time getting to know your patients. You can also ask questions of literally everyone. Learn about the jobs of the other clinicians, the pharmacists, the nurses, the therapists. It will make you a better doctor one day. I want to put a finer point on that comment that there are no stupid questions. Ask questions. You don't have all of the answers. You're students. You're still learning. And in fact, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Your attendings don't know all of the answers either, okay? Because you'll never, ever, ever have all of the answers in medicine. It changes every single day. You know, I asked my wife about a week or two ago, who's a pediatrician. She teaches at Baylor and in Texas Children's. What one thing, if she were standing here, she would say to y'all? And she paused for a second. She said, I think 3 words. She says, I'd say tell the truth. If you don't know, it's okay to say so. If you make a mistake, if you forget to check the labs, you don't do something right, admit it, admit your mistake. Learn from that, but admit your mistake. If you don't understand something, even if it seems really, really basic, you're here to learn. Ask the question. Just the other day, I was rounding on our new hospital in Cyprus, and the team was telling me very proudly about a new physician who'd come to work there and said, he's here because of the DV5. And I sat there thinking, I don't know what the heck a DV5 is. So what did I do? I asked the question. A lot of people in my role would have sat there and said, you know, I'm the CEO, I should know this. Or if I'm a physician CEO, I should really show this. I shouldn't show weakness, I shouldn't show lack of knowledge. So I asked, what's a DV5? They kind of looked at me a little funny and explained to me what a DV5 was, but you know what? Now I know, so I'm gonna leave that to all of y'all to look up what a DV5 is. Don't let your egos get in the way. And you know what, while you're at it, try not to use all that jargon, because had they told me the full name, I would have known it instantly. You know, my time in medical school is one of the most memorable times of my life. It will be for you. I know every physician in the room would say the same thing. I still remember seeing my first patient in Dunn Tower at Houston Methodist suffering from hypercalcemia because they had multiple myeloma. Every time I see a patient now with hypercalcemia, I still think of that patient. I still remember sitting at the VA with an attending who said to me, Mark, tell me the 23 causes of hypercalcemia as fast as you can. And he sat there going like this as I stumbled past the first few. And he'd say, Mark, you're like a fish on a dock as you sit here trying to answer the question. To this day, I can still rattle off pretty much most of those 23 causes of hypercalcemia. And if you go like this while I do it, I'll break into a sweat for you. I want to close with another final story, one from my career. It was Christmas Day, 1994. I was a senior internal medicine resident, and I was running the medical intensive care unit at Massachusetts General Hospital. MGH, like Houston Methodist Hospital, is a quaternary care center. I mean, you get the sickest of the sick. People come in desperation, either directly or transferred in. So hospitals all over that region would transfer patients in. So the night before, a patient I'll call John, a 53-year-old male patient, a father of 3, went to Christmas Eve service on Cape Cod. He'd been feeling pretty terrible for 3-4 days. He had a fever, not huge, he was coughing a bunch, but he pushed himself and he went to service to be there with his family, to have that family experience. About 4 in the morning, he woke his wife up and told her, I can't breathe, and in fact, I feel like I'm dying. She took him to the small little hospital on Cape Cod, where within an hour or two, he was already intubated, had a breathing tube put in because he was deteriorating so fast. By that early afternoon, he came to our ICU on Christmas Day. By 9 p.m., with his lungs whited out and with severe sepsis, he passed from the earth. We had been throwing the kitchen sink at him. We had spent all day with him. Nowadays, maybe we would have squeaked him by to ECMO, but I'm not even sure about that because he was so septic. I mean, he was just dying from sepsis. He ended up having a viral illness and had a superinfection with a fulminant group A streptococcus, which you'll learn about. And I remember going to the waiting room that day on Christmas Day to speak with his wife, telling her that her husband had died on Christmas Day, that he'd experienced his last Christmas service, that their 3 kids would not have a father, knowing that they'd think about this every Christmas for the rest of their lives. After holding myself together through all that, having a hard time now, I walked to one of the rooms in the corner of the ICU and I sobbed. Now, my wife will tell you, I never cry. She criticizes me for that, but I practiced several times trying to get through this here 31 years later. So why do I tell you such a depressing story? I tell you that because the journey you're embarking on is hard. It is not easy. You will be there, thankfully, for some of people's happiest moments in life. You're going to get to cradle a newborn baby in your arms as you watch a delivery and help pass a baby off to a parent. But you'll experience loss. You'll help save lives. And you know what? It's going to hurt. So don't ever forget that you're human. Seek help when you need it. We have chaplains, counselors, your attendings, and others who will help. Lean on your families and loved ones. Lean on each other. And families, just understand that what they're going through is a calling, and it is hard, and they're going to need your support. But it is so rewarding. There will be late nights, there will be early mornings. You will take exams that feel just awful and insurmountable. In the EndMed work, you'll help develop prototypes that just won't work or projects that stall out. There will be days when you doubt yourself and your abilities, just like I doubted myself that day in the ICU at Christmas. Those are not the days that define you. What defines you is how you rise above those moments, how you turn those moments into good. Because of patients like John, I learned very early in my career something I teach every clinician I ever talk to, and I actually teach all the administrative people I talk to, which is respect microorganisms. This is why Houston Methodist is obsessive about hand hygiene. This is why we led the country in the response to COVID. This is why we believe and embrace evidence-based medicine and evidence-based protocols for things like sepsis and other illnesses. The team sport of medicine I was talking about, it is driven by science, but it is driven by process engineering and protocols and process management, things that all of you as engineers bring to the table big time. And that's why I admire each of you, because this program is so unique and exemplary. EndMed is impressive. You are pioneers, or as we all like to say, physicianeers. Each of you brings unique life experiences and beliefs, and that's a wonderful thing. You come from all over. You've studied at a wide range of excellent universities. You've majored in many different fields of engineering and bioinformatics. And while your paths to this moment have been different, each of you has arrived because you approach medicine through an innovative lens. In fact, that's something that I know defines this class already. You've chosen one of the most innovative and rigorous programs in the country, one that merges the power of medicine and engineering to transform patient care. You are now taking what were technical talents and you're dedicating your work to the patient and the human experience while, of course, you pick up additional technical knowledge. The white coat, as we've already talked about, has long been a wonderful symbol in medicine. It represents compassion, humanism, healing, and professionalism, and it evokes trust in the people who see it. But more than anything, it's a symbol of service. It means that from today forward, your role in the world changes. Because wearing the coat's not just about what you know, it's not even what you will come to know, it's about what you are willing to give to others. You'll give your time, long nights studying, even longer nights on call. You'll give your heart, showing up for patients and families on their worst days and holding space for their fear and their pain. And you'll give their minds, not only in mastering content, but also in advancing the future of care itself. And that's where EndMed is unlike any other program in the country, because here you're not just learning to treat illness, you're learning to engineer solutions. You're not only studying the science of the body, but you're designing tools, systems, and devices that will help us care for it better. And in this era of the promise and the risks of artificial intelligence, you're just the very people to chart that right path forward, grounded in humanism, grounded in the values of Texas A&M, grounded in Houston Methodist ICARE values. and grounded in a holistic approach to caring. So in just a few years, it will be like a blink. You'll be a new kind of physician, a physicianeer, and an NMed graduate who holds both of those degrees. That's not just impressive, it's actually visionary. You're stepping into a world that desperately needs what you have to offer. Patients need doctors who can think medically and technically. We as hospitals need systems that are designed by people like you who understand both the software and the human body. And communities need leaders who will speak the language of science and the language of empathy. You are here to create a path forward, and on that journey, know that you are not alone. You're part of a growing NMed tradition and family, one that's grounded in excellent service and bold thinking. You're part of a Texas A&M legacy, a university that is known for producing leaders. And you're now connected to Houston Methodist, a health system that shares your values of innovation, compassion, and patient-centeredness. At Houston Methodist, we talk about unparalleled. We do not accept good enough. We strive for excellence to continue leading medicine. So, as you put on the white coat today, your charge is take a moment, let it settle, feel it on your shoulders. Think about everyone here who is, and elsewhere, who has helped you arrive at this point in your careers and your lives. Think about the sacrifices you've already made and your willingness to make many, many more sacrifices in the future. Think about the patients who will one day look at you and say, thank you. You made a difference in my life, because you will. You may be new medical students now, but one day very soon you'll walk across the stage as doctors, engineers, innovators, and leaders. You'll make lifelong friends and lifelong mentors here, and you'll look back at today as just the start, not just the start of your education, but as the beginning of your impact. So welcome to the profession, welcome to the responsibility, welcome to the privilege, and welcome to your sacred calling. Thank you, and God bless.
Howdy. Howdy. Oh, you guys are getting pretty good at that. Just try that one more time. Howdy. Howdy. Oh, that's much better. I am not a Texan, so I like saying that now. I have the privilege of calling these wonderful students to the stage. As I do so, I'll be calling two names at the same time and their degrees that they rightfully earned. So I ask the audience, the friends, and the family that were able to join us today, if you could please just hold your applause until I read both. Olowa Dorotimi Agbesonwa, Biomedical Engineering at the University of Houston, and Amira Alam, Biomedical Engineering at the University of Houston. Neha Alaru, Biomedical Engineering at the University of Texas at Austin, and Aiden Atkins, Biomedical Engineering at Texas A&M University. Richard Balbin, Biomedical Engineering at Texas A&M University, and Stefan Banikov, Biomedical Engineering at the University of California, Irvine. Alexander Bogdan, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University, and a Master's in Engineering in Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. And John Kai, Mechanical Engineering from Johns Hopkins University. Anav Chopra, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University, and Rucha Dave, Electrical and Computer Engineering from Olin College of Engineering. Ethan Edwards, Biomedical Engineering from Utah State University, and Nathaniel Fernandez, Computer Engineering from Texas A&M University. Eric Gallagher, Electrical Engineering from University of Notre Dame, and Shruti Garla, Biomedical Engineering from the University of Texas at Austin. Rachel Gentile, Biomedical Engineering from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and Jake Hacker, Biomedical Engineering from the California Polytech State University. Taha Hashmi, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University, and Annabelle Helene, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Siyang Jung, Chemical Engineering from Brigham Young University, and Fozol Consol, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Alicia Kim, Bioengineering from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and Andrew Kablansky, Biomedical Engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology. Jenna Kruger, Biomedical Engineering from the University of Texas at Dallas, and Hannah Keeker, Biomedical Engineering from the Texas University at Austin. Neha Kulkarni, Biomedical Engineering from the University of California at Los Angeles, and Rachel Kurian, Electrical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Benjamin Langford, Biomedical Engineering from Arizona State University, and Abhinaya Muganarandam, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Shalini Numadori, Bioengineering from the University of California, Berkeley, and Joshua Norton, Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering from Purdue University. Andrea Noy, Mechanical Engineering from the University of Florida, and John Oak, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Cyril Pillai, Bioinformatics from Baylor University, and Joshua Robert, Computer Science from Texas A&M University. Gabriela Haki Oliveira Numora, Biomedical Engineering from the University of Texas at Austin, and Mohammed Solman, Biomedical Engineering from the University of Texas at Dallas. Abdas Sabor Sheikh, Biomedical Engineering from Johns Hopkins University, and Aaron Spearman, Bioengineering from Clemson University. Mansan Srinivasan, Biomedical Engineering from the University of Texas at Austin, and Zain Syed, Biomedical Engineering from Arizona State University. Charmaine Tan, Bioengineering from the University of California at Los Angeles, and Christopher Tan, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Noah Taylor, Bioengineering from Texas A&M University, and Alice Tien, Bioengineering from Rice University. Sammy Tobe, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University, and Lukitha Verapalli, Bioengineering from Texas A&M University. Sarah Voon, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University, and Mary Grace Wabi, Biomedical Engineering from Texas A&M University. Ethan Wavra, Chemical Engineering from Auburn University, and Jason Zung, Electrical and Computer Engineering from the University of Arizona. Please join me in thanking and welcoming our class of 2029. It's now my pleasure to call Dr. Erica Green up to the podium.
Welcome, class of 2029. It is my honor to administer the Hippocratic Oath, which you'll find on the back of your programs. So please stand and repeat after me. I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will practice medicine with conscience and dignity. The health and life of my patient will be my first consideration. I will hold in confidence all that my patient confides in me. I will maintain the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give respect and gratitude to my deserving teachers. My colleagues will be as my family. I will not permit personal consideration to interfere with my duty to my patients. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. These promises I make freely and upon my honor. Thank you. You may be seated.
Great day. Thank you all for being here, especially the family and friends. We very much appreciate your attention. The journey begins. We're going to assemble in the foyer area for class photograph, your first group picture. So if you'll head that way, and then I ask the family and friends to remain for reception and enjoy the day. And again, we appreciate it, and howdy, gig 'em.